President Trump's nominee for Attorney General was in the hot seat today. William Barr told a Senate panel that he will not interfere with the special counsel's Russia investigation. KCON9 political reporter Dave Bryan has highlights of today's hearing. Dave?
Well, Jeff, President Trump's nominee for Attorney General, a risky position at best, as you indicated, told this Senate committee during a long day of interrogation that he wouldn't interfere with the special counsel investigation. But he also indicated that the Mueller report on Russian meddling and possible collusion could be kept secret from Congress and the public, just like internal Justice Department memos. At the first day of his confirmation hearing, President Trump's pick for Attorney General, William Barr, made it clear that he would not be pushed around by anyone, up to and including the president.
I will not be bullied into doing anything I think is wrong by anybody, whether it be editorial boards or Congress or the president. I'm going to do what I think is right.
But Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee, led by California Senator Dianne Feinstein, wanted more specific answers about whether Barr would defend Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian election meddling and possible collusion.
Will you commit to providing Mr. Mueller with the resources, funds, and time needed to complete his investigation?
Yes.
Will you commit to ensuring that Special Counsel Mueller is not terminated without good cause, consistent with department regulations?
Absolutely.
Barr told the committee he has had a 30-year friendship with Mueller and disclosed that relationship to President Trump during a meeting in 2017.
I told him how well I knew Bob Mueller and how, the Barrs and Muellers were good friends.
But Barr did not commit to making the complete special counsel report available to Congress and the public.
My objective and goal is to get as much as I can of the information to Congress and the public.
Do you believe Mr. Mueller would be involved in a witch hunt against anybody?
I don't believe Mr. Mueller would be involved in a witch hunt.
If Barr thought his position as President Trump's Attorney General would be easy, then the Jeff Sessions story may be a frightening lesson. The president never forgave Sessions after he disqualified himself from overseeing the special counsel investigation. From that point on, the presidential attacks on Sessions continued to escalate.
Jeff Sessions recused himself, which he shouldn't have done.
Republicans charge that Democratic concerns about presidential pressure are overblown.
Did he ask you to interfere in Mr. Mueller's investigation?
Absolutely not.
Has anybody in the White House made that suggestion to you?
Absolutely not.
Has anybody in the Western Hemisphere made that suggestion to you?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Well, there's a reason he's laughing, because tonight Barr's prospects of being confirmed by the Republican-led Senate appear to be pretty good. The top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, Senator Feinstein, who we saw in that report, told the Washington Post the hearing was going very well, and she expects him to be easily confirmed. Susie, back to you.
All right, Dave, thank you so much.